Hi guys, thanks for joining my channel again. So for today's video, what I'm going to work on today is satellite digital boxes. So something like what I have here, just a regular satellite digital box. So we're just going to open it up, we're going to have a look at it, see what's inside of it, see if there's any gold content, so see if there's anything worth scrapping out. So before we get started on them, just a few quick things is first of all, thanks to anyone who's subscribed to my channel already. Really appreciate it. I like the comments from a few people. I'll try and get around to hopefully working on the motherboards, showing how I strip out the motherboards. I've had a few requests for people wanting me to do some stuff on the motherboards, so depending on the weather this week, if the weather is good and I can get outside, I'll show you how I remove the motherboard using heat torches. I like to do them with heat torches. Now sometimes I'll just cherry pick. If it's bad weather, I'll just take off what I can with the pliers, with a chisel, but any of the stuff that's soldered on fairly well, I'll always try and take it off with using a heat gun. So hopefully if the weather gets good and I can get outside, because again, a lot of fumes when you're using the heat gun, there's a lot of fumes. I prefer to do that out in open space. I don't like doing it in a confined area. Even though I'd have a mask on, I still can get the smell on my clothes afterwards if I do it in an indoor area from it. So please subscribe to my channel if you like the videos I'm doing. Even if you don't like the videos I'm doing, subscribe, let me know what I can do better, what I can do differently, so that I can hopefully improve my channel. So we'll start off today on this. So this is just a regular satellite box. I'm going to scrap out a few of them here today. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to remove all the screws on all the boxes. So again, straight away, it's just straightforward. I'm just going to take out all the screws along the boxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove all the screws, so everyone knows how to use a screwdriver and take out the screws. Now the other thing I want to show you is on these boxes, what I like to do as well, as I'm going along taking them apart, I'll just get the right tool for the job. On these plugs here, you'll have a little nut that holds these in place. So I like to just remove them as well at the same time as I'm doing the screws. So I'll remove that nut off. It makes it easier later on when I'm taking the box apart, so that when I've removed these nuts off it, when I go to take the board out, it'll make it easier for me to get the board out of the actual case in itself. So I just like to take them off as well at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to remove all the screws, and I'm going to remove the nuts from all 4 boxes that I'm going to do, and then we'll take the covers off. We'll have a look inside and see what there is. So as I was saying, it's just straightforward. I'm going to remove all the screws that you can see the screws there. If there's any underneath here, I'll also remove them from the base. So if there's any screws here on the bottom of the base, I'll remove them from it, and then we'll take off the casing and we'll have a look at the board inside. So don't forget to just remove all the screws. Then from this section here, I like to remove the little nuts that was covering that, so that we can get into it. And also you can see here again, there's a little nuts there, so I'll do the same thing again. I'll remove them from it, and once they're removed, it makes it easier when I go to take the board apart, once I get the cover off, once I get the screws off. So just remove them little nuts here holding on the connection switches. So again, it's just straightforward. So I'm going to pause the video. I'll have removed all the screws when we come back for all 4 of the boxes I'm going to do, and we'll have a look inside them and see if there's anything different in each box. Okay guys, so I've removed all the screws from the back of these boxes. So I've removed anywhere I've seen a screw in it. I've also removed the nuts that were around the connectors where the satellite cable actually connected into the box. So we've then removed now, as you can see, I still have 4 screws left here. Removed some of them down on this box, but they seem to be connected to a actual fan inside, so I don't think that will make any difference when I'm going to remove the covers on these. So we're going to just try and remove the cover. So that's just straightforward. Cover just slots off like it did there, so that just comes off it, so we can get a look inside now at the actual box itself. So as we can see already there again, I can see there's more screws here that need to be removed. So again, what I'll do is I'll pause this video again and I'll continue, and I'll remove all the screws now again. Anywhere, once I've taken the top cover off, anywhere I see that the screws, I'll remove all them screws, so that when we go to remove the board in a minute, it'll give me easier access to the board. And again, I'm not going to waste my time recording it for anyone to see me removing screws. I think everyone knows how to remove screws now at this stage from any of the stuff they're doing, scrapping out. So as you can see, just taking a quick look at the board itself, from what I can see, we have a few little chips on the board. Again, over here we have more IC chips. So a few chips on the board straight away. There's a cover over this, so I'm presuming that under that maybe a hard drive, as this box was, allowed you to record your channels from your satellite. So I'm presuming that's just your under there we'll hopefully find a hard drive, which would be nice if we can get a hard drive out of it. Over here again, this box here is low grade board on this side, so we don't really have anything of high value there. A bit of copper, probably aluminium. Again, test out a magnet, see if that's aluminium or not. Again, probably copper in underneath here. So again, you can put that with your copper content, but as in gold value, I don't see anything now. Possibly inside of here, if I can get a better view of it with the light, possibly inside of here we could see, I think I see a couple of gold connectors. So we get a close look at that when I get the board removed from itself. So what I'll do now is I'm going to pause it again. I'll take off all the screws that I can see again on this, and we'll take off the next layer and see what's underneath this layer once we remove these protective covers here. We'll try and get all the screws out of it, and we'll see what else we have there. Okay guys, so I think I've loosened all the screws along here now, which I could see that I can get access to, and along here. So again, as you can see here now, I'm just going to remove that board from it here. So she joined up here, she's joined up, so I'm just going to snip them wires. Be the easiest way. If I have anything to snip them with. So we'll just pull the wires so that we can remove the board. So I've actually broken that a bit more. So now I tested that there with a magnet, and it didn't stick to it, so I'm presuming that's aluminium. So again, when I remove that from the board itself here, so it's just seems to be a little screw in here. So we'll just take that away, and I'll add that to my aluminium that I collect. So say any heat sinks, any other aluminium that I collect off the boards, I'll add that to it. So that's if it'll come away, but it doesn't seem to want to come away too easy, so we might have to break them off from the board. So we've him taken away now from the board, so I'll add him to my aluminium. So it all adds up, so I put him in with the aluminium. Okay, so now that we've removed that apart from the board, we'll take this apart from the board. So again, as you can see, there's always an awkward screw somewhere. So this one seems to be the one holding it. We'll take off the front cover if possible. Okay, so I've removed that, and as I said, the possibility would be I'll find a hard drive inside the box. So we'll just put the box aside for a second. So inside of here, as you can see, we've got a hard drive. So again, that's a nice little find to have. So you find that a lot on a lot of these boxes that are used for recording satellite programs. Here in Ireland, you'd have a couple of TV companies which will supply their satellite boxes. You subscribe for the year. They'll allow you to record their channels. So a lot of the time, if you change to another company, they'll supply a different type box. So you have these boxes left over. So again, there's something that, especially here in Ireland, the UK probably the same. In the US, I'm not familiar with what they use. I know they have recorded boxes that you can record on. So again, I'm sure there's companies over there that swap out their boxes when you change to a new supplier of your TV system. So the old boxes then, they become obsolete. So again, that now is steel. Doesn't feel like it's aluminium, but we'll test it with a little magnet and see does it stick to it. If the magnet sticks to it, we'll know that it's not aluminium anyhow, so that can eliminate that. That can go then in your waste steel if that's the case. Yeah. Okay, so the magnet isn't sticking to it, so chances are that could possibly be aluminium. So that's another nice bit of aluminium there. So again, I'll put that aside. I'll add that to my aluminium. It's just a bit light piece of aluminium, but again, that can be added up. So it all adds up. It's another thing. So again, you can see here, this is a hard drive. It's made by Seagate. So again, quite a good maker of hard drives. This one is in 160 gigabyte hard drive. So if that hard drive is working, you could test it out. If it's working, you'll get more money on eBay than you will for scrapping it out. Just format it and sell it on eBay. Now again, a lot of my videos, I'll be scrapping out stuff. I won't bother testing this. More than likely I'll just scrap it out when I'm doing a video on hard drives. So I'll put that aside now for a moment and we'll move on to the next. So again, back here now, so we have our connections. So again, inside of here, you will find gold contacts. So again, I'll do a video on these where I take them apart. I'll show you where the gold, they're just lightly gold flashed or gold plated contacts. So again, we can take that apart in a later video on my channel. So as I said, please subscribe, keep yourself up to date. So looking at the board, from what I can see at the moment, I see some gold pins along here. Again, I'll see the gold pins along here where this was connected. Again, aluminium. So we have two little bits of aluminium there on that board. Some IC chips, flat packed IC chips. So again, with some nice chips there. So what I'm going to do now is, I see a few screws here in the board. So sorry about the shadows, because I'm doing this late at night, so the lights are on and a lot of shadowing on the board, so it might be hard for some people to see some of the stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the screws from the board and just remove the board completely from inside of the casing. So again, this is just a steel casing, so that can go into your steel pile for recycling, make a few pound out of it. Again, the value is very low on steel, so you won't make much on that, but again, you have your aluminium out of this. So we'll just finish up now. I'll pause that again and we'll come back after I've removed the board. I'll just remove the screws and that'll allow me to remove the board. Okay, so we've removed all the screws hopefully from the board now. So this should allow me to take the board apart from the actual casing that it was inside. So we'll have to go with that there now. So there we go. So we're just left with our empty case. Again, waste steel. We have a little connection down here. So again, someone can, if you want to take them wires off for copper, possibly gold contacts inside there. We'll have a closer look at that in a second. So we'll just leave him aside. So now we have our board. So as I was saying earlier, this is the bit that is the tricky bit, is to remove this from that. And I spotted something I forgot to do, and me talking about it earlier, is to remove these little nuts here. So again, if I get them little nuts removed, it should allow the back cover to come away from the board. Okay, so we've them removed, and as you can see now, that has allowed me to remove the back cover. So on this particular device, on this back cover, we have a fan. So again, you can take that fan off. That fan is working. Maybe possible to find a buyer on eBay who may be looking for a fan for a project. Again, on this we have some wire in here. Again, I can see some gold pins in there. So again, I'll remove that later. I'll take off these screws here, and it'll let me have the USB connection here, which will have gold pins on the USB connection. So again, I can remove that in a few minutes from that. So just to have a quick look on the board itself. So on the board again, as I was saying, we have aluminium. We have some IC chips. So again, in future videos, I'll be showing you how I remove the IC chips from boards, from motherboards, from these boards. You can remove them by using the pliers like that. So that allowed me to remove the IC chip there fairly quickly. So again, I can remove it that way. Another way that I like to remove it is I like to get a chisel and just cut around it. So again, we'd get a chisel and I'd cut down along the lines here, and that'll allow me to remove the chips. You'd see that in previous videos that I did. And then the third method I'd use is a heat gun. So as I say, the heat gun, I prefer to do it outside. So once we get some good weather, I'll be doing some of that video outside on motherboards, these type of boards. We'll do a few of these boards and we'll see easy ways of removing them, getting the pins out, getting that by using the heat gun. So essentially, inside of the this box that I took apart, this board is possibly be ranked as a low grade board. So you have your IC chips, you have your gold pins in here, your aluminium. Again, we have some gold pins down here. So again, the heat gun will release them from the board. Or you can just, if you want to just cut them with a snips, you can just snip them off there and put them in your jar with your thing. On the back of it again, you'll have gold contacts inside here. You'll have gold contacts inside the where you can connect this to the internet, and possibly gold inside of these two connections. They may have gold, or more than likely may have copper. Again, where the card would go into the box, you will have gold pins down here. So again, you can release that by, when the heat gun is used. When I use the heat gun, it loosens all the solder up on the board, and that allow me to get all the contacts. So essentially, once I get the heat gun, it allows everything to come free of the board, and all you're left with is a plain board. Everything will be gone completely off it once I use a heat gun on it. So as I said, in the future video, you'll see me doing that. Again, these card slots in here could possibly have gold on them, but we won't know until we release them completely from the board. So again, I'm going to save this board up. I'm going to add it up to my collection. Again, gold pins. So we have our gold pins along here. So essentially, from this board, from this box, again, I got this box free. It was a person that was going throwing them out. He does TV repairs. So he was going to essentially dumping these, so I said I'd take them off him, have a look through them and see what we had. So that's another way of finding them. Some of them maybe does TV repairs, satellite installation, stuff like that. Will have a lot of this stuff lying around, so sometimes they're glad to get rid of someone to come along and take it off their hands. So it's another way of getting some of your e-waste for getting your gold. So again, the hard drive is nice to come across on that. Good, nice big 160 gig hard drive. So again, if, that'd be worth a few pound on the eBay if it was working. I'm not going to bother testing it. I have no interest in testing that. I'm more interested in scrapping it out to see what is inside of them. So we'll have that. We have your board, we have your hard drive, we have our aluminium came from that. Again, looking at this, what's left, waste steel. Again, let's see if we can remove this front cover to see if we can get this off. A bit more work to it, but there's clips here which should release the front cover. So if I can get the front released, in behind here will be another board, this control board. Sometimes you will find some nice contacts on it. Other times there's nothing of much value at all. It'll be a low grade board. So I'll do that separately in a few minutes. So again, I'll just pause the video and I'll try and remove that if I can to release the front board. Looking into it, it doesn't look like it's very high grade. It seems to be just a low grade board, so I'm not even going to bother with that. We'll just leave that, not even worth taking apart. That's just a low grade board. So that's about it on this. So essentially, aluminium, hard drive, low grade board. Again, you'll have your crystal oscillators. So in another video I'll talk a bit about these crystal oscillators. I collect them up. They're very hard processed. There's a couple of videos up there on how you process them. At the moment I'm not really interested in processing them, so I'll just collect them up, and hopefully at some stage I'll know enough to process them and make them worthwhile. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. If there's anything you suggest I should have done differently, anything you spotted there that maybe that I haven't spotted that could be worth more than what I'm giving it credit for, just let us know in the comments. And thanks again for watching.